Colorado. Coach says, quote, "It's still a circus. That's not an insult to Deion, but it is." And then another quote, "With his sons gone, this is the year you really wonder what Deion's long-term plan is." Now, you disagree with the circus part of that.
Yeah, I mean, so I guess it depends on what you want to be a circus. Like, yes, there are still going to be cameras around. And yes, Deion is still going to do some weird stuff. Like, he spends a lot of time when they're not recruiting and when they're not practicing, like outside of Boulder. Like,
he's got a talk show.
Well, now the talk show studios are in Boulder, which I learned recently. Okay. So for whatever that's worth, that's the thing. But he spends a lot of time in Texas, which I think is very antithetical to a lot of coaches in college football, college sports that don't spend a lot of time like of their, when they don't have to be in town. But I think the thing that I've taken away from covering Colorado as closely as I have the last few years is what they do is not all that unique, like from the day to day. The things that Deion will say to the team are pretty normal. They might have some like weird guests, like Denzel talks to the team in the spring, and like, yeah, there might be some little Deion like flares to it, but like the meat and potatoes, the skeleton of the program, they don't do a lot of different stuff than everybody else does. You got a team meeting in the morning, you're going to go practice, you're going to come back as like, so like, I think the guys that spend time in the program, like I think there is still somehow, despite a lot of proof on the field for Deion, that like they just roll the ball out there and let the kids go to town. And like, yeah, there's probably some connotations in there that are unfriendly, but like Deion won 9 games last year after inheriting a horrific situation. And the team has gotten better. And I do think they're going to be better than people think. I think the average college football fan says, well, they don't have Travis Hunter. They don't have Shador. Colorado's going to take a huge step back. I'm not so sure that that's true. I think they can still win 6, 7, 8 games this year and still be pretty good. And as far as Deion's long-term strategy, they've gone pretty traditional. Like their class this year was like half high school and half transfers.
He's not bringing in 80 new guys.
Yeah, again. And I don't know like what people think is happening at Colorado. Like they're almost uninteresting to a fault at this point, because outside of Deion being a big personality and being willing to say things at the microphone that others won't and campaign to play intra-squad spring games, like the way they actually run the program is not all that unique. And they have a lot of coaching continuity, which I'm a huge believer in. I think they kept almost everyone, if not everyone. I don't think they lost hardly anybody. And they were breaking in 2 new coordinators and a handful of other position coaches last year, including some first-time position coaches. So I don't see this circus at Colorado. I think it's going to be kind of business as usual this year, and their floor is a lot higher than I think people think. And as good as Travis and Shador were, they're going to be pretty good on the lines of scrimmage, improved there. And they might not be as explosive or as fun to watch or as like must-see TV, but I think they're still going to be pretty good.
The other side of that is, where is there for Deion to go? He's got a huge buyout now for him to leave. And the Cowboys thing was never really going to happen. I don't know if he's done enough for an SEC school to hire him yet. No. This year, there weren't any SEC openings, I don't think, last year. Like, there were not many big Big Ten SEC coaching openings last season. So there wasn't anywhere for him to go. I don't think him in the NFL is ever going to make sense. So this was going to be the year that determines, all right, can he do it without them? And if he can, if they can win 8, 9 games again, then yeah, maybe then he does get a look at another job. But I don't remember exactly what it was. But that new contract he has a pretty big buyout, I believe, for him to.
Well, and part of this too that you didn't mention is like the reason why Colorado made a whole lot of sense for him is because they were desperate. They handed the keys to the kingdom to him. He can do whatever he wants there. Oh, you want cameras, in your everywhere? Have at it. They let Deion be Deion. And there's not a lot of programs that would put up with that. And some of that's born out of desperation. Now you've got obviously proof of concept. You've gone from a really bad 1-win team to an improved 4-win team that just didn't have the pieces to do what you want to do. So now they're a 4-way tie for the Big 12 title last year. And I don't know that they can compete for that. I think the Big 12 might be a little improved. You look at BYU, you look at Kansas State, and those are the teams that I'm looking at that I don't know that Colorado stacks up well with either of those teams. But I just don't I think, how pervasive do you think it is in people that follow college football that the bottom is getting to fall out of Colorado without Shedeur and Travis. I feel like there's a not insignificant percentage of people who see that.
Well, and it's also, you got to remember, like, they added Caden Salter from Liberty.
Good quarterback.
Good player.
Not a lot of experience.
Like, good player. And they got the 5-star kid
Lewis.
who just came in as well. So, like, they're in a good spot. Like, that's one of the better 1-2 quarterback things in the country. It's hard to have two guys, and your odds of one of those guys being the guy is pretty good. So, also, I looked it up. Deion's buyout to leave before December 31st of this year is $12 million. So it's up there. It's not impossible, but it's up there. It drops to $10 million after December 31st. So
and Deion, not for everybody.
That too.